students. I am Sanju Hazdia, Assistant Professor of English at Government College Ratangad. How are you? Please take care in this Corona period. Today I am going to explain Alfred Lord Tennyson's poem The Lotus Eaters, and I will explain first three stanzas of this poem. So pay heed towards whatever is said. And this poem is included in BA Part 2nd by Maharaja Ganga Singh University, Bikaner. This is our first stanza. Before explaining the first stanza, I want to tell the background of this poem, and I have told that in introduction part also. The hero of this poem is Odysseus, and the poet is based this poem on Homer's Odyssey. Odysseus is going towards his home with his mariners, with his fellow mariners, and what conversation takes place between them is presented in this poem. So in first stanza, Odysseus is addressing to his fellow mariners. So what he is saying? Courage, he said, and pointed towards the land. This mounting wave will roll us shoreward soon. In the afternoon they came unto a land in which it seemed always afternoon. All round the coast the languid air did swoon, breathing like one that hath a weary dream. Full-faced above the valley stood the moon, and like a downward smoke the slender stream along the cliff to fall and pause and fall did seem. So this is our first stanza, and now I am explaining this line to line. Courage, he said. So who is he? Odysseus. Odysseus is saying, please have courage. He is addressing to his fellow mariners and he is saying, please have courage. He and pointed toward the land, and he pointed towards the land. Means they are approaching towards the land. So he is pointing towards the land and he is saying to his mariners, please have courage. This mounting wave will roll us shoreward soon. This rising wave will roll us shoreward soon. This rising wave will take us towards the shore. Okay. So he is assuring them that they will reach at their home very early. In the afternoon they came unto a land. In the afternoon they came on the island. They reached on the island in the afternoon, in which it seemed always afternoon, but it was such type of land at which it appeared there was perpetual afternoon. There was not any end of the afternoon. All round the coast the languid air did swoon, and all round means in all the surrounding area of that coast means shore, the languid air did swoon. The air was very lethargic. The atmosphere was very lethargic. So the languid air, the air was appearing very lazy. Means here air is personified. So air was very lazy and languid. All round the coast the languid air did swoon. There was the air appeared very languid, very lazy, and it was swinging in the whole area. Breathing like one that hath a weary dream, and it was breathing. Means the air was breathing, air was flowing in such a manner that it was having a weary dream. Means after a person having such a weary dream, such a fearful dream, how he breathes, in the same manner the air was breathing like a person who was having a weary dream. Full-faced above the valley stood the moon. The moon was standing. Means moon is also personified in this line. Moon was standing like a person who was facing the valley. So moon was standing before the valley, and it was fully facing the valley. And like a downward smoke the slender stream along the cliff to fall and pause and fall did seem. And like a downward smoke, as smoke comes down In the same manner, the slender stream. The stream was very slender. The stream was the small river. Stream means the small river. The river was very slender, very thin, and it was coming like a downward smoke. When it was coming down, it was appearing like a smoke along the cliff to fall and pause and fall did seem. And when the stream was coming down along the cliff, it was falling and then pausing and then falling. Means it was also coming down in a very lazy manner. So everything was appearing languid and lethargic in that atmosphere. So I think you understood this first stanza, and now we are heading towards second stanza. This is our second stanza. A land of streams, some like a downward smoke, slow dropping veils of thinnest lawn did go, and some through wavering lights and shadows broke, rolling a slumberous sheet of foam below. They saw the gleaming river seaward flow. From the inner land, far off, three mountain tops, three silent pinnacles of air snow, stood sunset flushed and dewed with showery drops. Up clomb the shadowy pine above the woven copse. So this is our second stanza, and now I am explaining this. A land of streams. This land was full of streams. Streams means, as I have told in first stanza, streams means small rivers. A land of streams. This land was full of streams, so it appeared it was a land of streams. Some like a downward smoke, some were very thin, some were very slender, so they, whenever they were coming down, they appeared like a smoke. So some rivers were very slim and very thin, very slender. Slow dropping veils of thinnest lawn did go, and they were dropping. They were coming down in a dropping manner, very slowly, like a veil comes slowly in a thinnest lawn. And they were going in this manner, means they were flowing in a very slow manner. So the rivers were also appearing in a very appear like a very lazy person. They were moving, and some through wavering lights and shadows broke. And some rivers were powerful, and they were moving through a wavering lights, means through flowing lights, and shadows broke, and some were flowing through the shadows. Okay, so some rivers were very thin and some rivers were very powerful, and they were flowing in a very lethargic manner, in a very languid manner, in a very lazy manner, and some were flowing through the wavering lights and shadows, rolling a slumberous sheet of foam below. And sheet of foam, you know what is foam? Foam on the water. Sheet of foam below means slumberous, means sleepy. Okay, so after the river was flowing, the foam was also coming below that, in that river, rolling a slumberous sheet of foam below. A sheet of foam was flowing, was rolling below the river in a very slumberous manner, in a very sleepy manner. They saw the gleaming river seaward flow, and they, who are they? Mariners and the omniscient narrator and the fellows of Odysseus. They saw the gleaming river seaward flow, and what they experienced, what they saw? They saw the gleaming, brightening river was flowing towards the sea, means these brightening rivers going towards the sea. From the inner land, far off, three mountain tops. From that inner land of that island, from that island, far off, at the far, three mountain tops. There were three mountains, and they were very high, so their tops can be seen from very far. Three silent pinnacles of aged snow. and these uh, tops of the mountains were pinnacles of a snow. Means the tops, pinnacle means top, means the top of these mountains were covered with snow. These three mountain peaks were the monuments of age snow. Means they were covered with snow from from the olden times. So three silent pinnacles of age snow. These were the monuments of these three tops of the mountains were monuments of snow. Stood sunset first, and now the omniscient narrator is giving the description of the sunset. Sunset was also standing, means sun was also standing and it was setting. First it was red and hot. It is the time of the sunset and the sun is very hot and very red. Stood and dewed with showery drops, and it appeared it was full of the dew drops because of shower. Okay, so it was the showery drops, because of them it appeared dewed. Up clomb the shadowy pine above the woven copse. So up clomb is the second form of climb. The shadowy pine above the woven copse. Copse means small trees. It is the group of trees. So copse is the group of small trees, and the pine is climbing. Pine tree is the longest tree, midest of those trees. So it is climbing above the all trees, all the group of the trees, and it is shadowing them. Okay, so this is the second stanza, and I think you understood the explanation of this stanza. And now third stanza, we are heading towards the third stanza, and this is our third stanza. The charmed sunset lingered low adown in the red west, through mountain clefts the dale was seen far inland, and the yellow down, bordered with palm and many a winding vale and meadow, set with slender galingale, a land where all things always seemed the same, and round about the keel with faces pale, dark faces pale against that rosy flame, the mild-eyed melancholy lotus eaters came. So this is our third stanza, and now I am explaining this stanza, so please pay heed towards this stanza line to line. The charmed sunset. The sun was setting, as the description of the sunset is given by the mariners, by the omniscient narrator. The charmed sunset was also appearing charmed towards the land, attracted towards the land, lingered means staying longer, low down means the sun was also staying for a longer time. It was not setting because it was charmed towards the land, so it was low and down at that place, and it was the sunset time, but the sun was so charmed towards the land, so it was staying longer in the red west. In the west, when it was setting in the west, it was red colored, and it was delaying for setting because it was charmed towards the land. Through mountain clefts the dale, and this view of sunset can be seen through the mountain clefts. Cleft means partition. So through mountain partition the dale means valley. So it can be seen, this sunset can be seen through the clefts of the valleys through the mountains, was seen far inland, and it was seen in the far of that land, and the yellow down bordered with palm, and the yellow downs means pastures, these yellowish pastures bordered with palm tree has made the border of that yellow downs, and many a winding vale, and there were so many winding wells. Wells means valleys. So there were so many winding wells means twisted valleys and meadow. Okay, and meadows set with slender galingale, and there uh, they were covered with slender thin galingale. Galingale is a sage in Europe and Asia. uh, Eurasia means Europe and Asia. So it is set with slender galingale. Galingale is a sage, a small plant, a land where all things always seem the same. It is that type of island, it is that type of land where everything appears the same. There is not any change. Everything is always appears the same. And mariners are very attracted towards that land. They are amazed by the scenery of that land, that everything appears the same. And round about the keel with faces pale, and round the about the keel means here is for boat. They have not come down from the boat, so all the mariners are in their boat, and round about the keel with faces pale. Many persons have come there, and they are round the keel, they are round the boat, their faces are pale. Who are these persons? These persons are the natives of that island, the inhabitants of that island. The island's name is Lotus Eaters. So they are the inhabitants of that island of Lotus Eaters. Dark faces pale against that rosy flame, and their faces are very dark and pale against that rosy flame. Means it is the time of the sunset, so the rosy flames of the sun are coming in that land, and their faces are appearing very dark and pale against that rosy hue of the sun. The mild-eyed melancholy lotus eaters came. The mild-eyed melancholy lotus eaters. The lotus eaters' eyes were appearing very mild and melancholic. Their eyes are very gentle, very mild, and they are appearing very melancholic. So this is the description of the lotus eaters, how they looked, how they appeared, and the omniscient narrator has given the description of that land in a very beautiful manner. What type of rivers were flowing there, and what type of mountains were there, and how the sun and moon were attracted towards the land. So this is the explanation of the first three stanzas, and I think you understood it, and you should do your assignment also. So thanks for watching. Okay.